Hello and welcome to my lecture, which I title, Getting Your Web Pages Indexed on Google to Improve Your Website Traffic. Are the pages of your website registered with and indexed in the Google search engine? Making sure your Google sitemap is current and getting your web pages indexed within the Google search engine for both desktop and mobile devices are quite frankly the number one and number two best possible ways to get your website content making it to the front pages within the Google engine. Having great SEO cognizant page titles, descriptions, and meta tags are just part of the battle. When trying to fulfill a user search request, the very first place Google looks for content is on the data it has stored within its own databases by webmasters savvy enough to request that specific web pages under their control have their web page names, titles, descriptions, and meta tags for these pages indexed and loaded into the Google search database. Google gives priority to this content before it goes looking elsewhere to load up what it presents to the end user making the search query. The closer you can get your loaded and indexed meta information to mirror the actual query made by the end user, the better are your chances of making page one in the Google search results. If Google does not find enough content in these internal index databases, that is when it looks elsewhere for content to satisfy the end user query. The next phase of their search for content, but I am guessing on this point as Google does keep its actual search algorithm secret, would be to shop for content externally, probably through interfaces to other search engines, online article and news repositories, etc. These would be rapid queries made to those sources because third-party interfacing slows down end-user response times, just by the nature of having to go outside to fulfill a request rather than to just stay within your own internal systems. My guess is, but it is an educated one, as I have helped design data retrieval systems for huge systems in my development career, that when a query is responded to, not all the information is immediately retrieved. Just the first couple of pages of the query results are fully captured and presented immediately to the end user. Third-party site queries are done to get like content titles, descriptions, and meta tags, which are then cached and ready for retrieval if necessary. Only if the end user requests additional information would the additional files be downloaded from third-party services, transformed to the desired view for the content to be represented and to be loaded in as the next page or pages of the results or final content rendering. Do you know what an indexed file is, by the way? In a database, indexed files are tables of data that have been structured to render fast retrieval of information. It is slower to put this type of data into a database and index it so as to be able to bring it to view lightning fast when a request for its content is made through an external information request. Unstructured data, on the other hand, can get into a system quickly, but in a non-indexed table, it is much slower to find, understand, and retrieve. This is why the Google Webmaster Toolkit and Console has a component of their system geared specifically to offering webmasters the opportunity to submit web pages for indexing and submission to the Google database. This has to be done one page at a time, and each page has to be done once for desktop rendering and again for a mobile device rendering. Why? Well, the only reason I can think of is that there are separate data tables in play within the Google system segregating mobile and desktop information, queries, and rendering. Therefore, the data structures loaded would be different, and different programs would be working behind the scenes to capture, transform, and load the data for the mobile platform. The end result? You as the webmaster has to request each of your web pages to be indexed once for a desktop environment and once again for the mobile world. This summarizes what is going on, in my view, behind the scenes within the Google search engine. Knowing this helps one to realize that to obtain the best possible of all SEO search results for your web page content is to get your web pages indexed and loaded into the Google search engine. This is where good SEO starts. So now here is how you do it. First, you go to your Google Webmaster Toolkit and access your Webmaster Console. Under the Crawl menu option, select Fetch as Google. The next screen will allow you to enter the web page URL you desire and the platform desktop or mobile smartphone, and you would then press the Fetch button. If you get a complete message, you will see another button that you can press that says Request Indexing. press that button and Google will bring you to an identity verification screen. Verify yourself and complete the process, and the notice on the page will change to indexing requested. When Google has the time, it will process your request, crawl your web page again as part of that process, and then if satisfied, it will index and load the web page meta information into its internal database system. You are now in a much better position to get your web page showing up on page 1 of the Google search engine. Be aware, though, that there are millions upon millions of indexing requests going to Google, so the actual indexing can take some time, but probably somewhere within a few days to a month or so. And yes, it can't take that long. Your web page will get indexed into their system, and your SEO and rankings within the Google search engine will dramatically improve. By the way, one last tip. If along the way you learn more about creating better titles, descriptions, and keyword tags, and you update your web page header information accordingly, remember to re-index your page with Google, or they will not learn about your new and improved meta tag selections within their internal database search engine tables. And just when you thought this was all easy stuff too. That's all for this lecture. Bye for now.